Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ace. I want to talk to you about what do you do with a flat tire? You know, every time we go through life, we don't realize, but you get the wind knocked out of you, or it's driven out of you, and that's what a flat tire really is. You know, but if you're going to take a trip, you've loaded up your car, you've packed it all up, you got visions of your destiny, you're ready to go, and you take off. Well, I live in Lubbock, Texas, and so when I take a trip, sometimes I have to go through what's called the back roads of Texas. And in those back roads, sometimes even the Garmin doesn't work when you get down in some of those low valley places. And you know, and sometimes your cell phone doesn't work. And so if you're taking a trip and all of a sudden you hear this da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and you pull over, you find out you got a flat tire. And so on some of these back roads, there's just not a whole lot of traffic. And the sun's starting to go down and you realize that something has happened. Well, you know, in life, as you take a trip, you have to stop long enough to evaluate where you are and what's going on around you. And so, as I talk about the flat tire, I want to use that illustration to relate to some of the things that we go through in life. The flat tire is simply getting the breath knocked out of you, the wind taken away from you. It might be in a bad relationship, a bad marriage. It could be in the loss of a job. It could be gotten involved in a company and the company didn't fulfill some of your things that you wanted it to do. It could have been that maybe you felt like your leadership that had brought you in had deserted you and left you out, out in the cold. But in other words, symbolically, everybody goes through a flat tire. So what do? I want to give you some basic principles that you can apply to all these areas of your life. And you can even relate it to someone else and maybe help them along the way. Number one, what do you do when you have a flat tire? You're out in the middle of the back roads of Texas, your cell phone doesn't work, your GPS doesn't work, traffic's not coming along, and you have got a flat tire. What do? Number one, you accept it. You accept it that this is what's happened, and realize that you're not the only one in life who's ever had to go through a flat tire experience. So what do? You evaluate it mentally. You realize you're on the back roads, there's no cell phone service, no GPS, and there's nobody going to come along to help you, and you've got to do this yourself. You've got to fix this yourself. So mentally, you go through the fact you must accept it. Number two, you must deal with it in a positive way. What good is it going to be for you to jump out of your car and go out and cut the other 3 tires just because you had a flat tire? Well, that would be absolutely ludicrous, wouldn't it? And sitting there honking your horn, screaming and hollering and throwing a fit and throwing things out the window. That's not going to fix it. In fact, it's going to make things worse. And if you look around and evaluate, you realize that you're in the afternoon and the sun is going down and soon going to be dark on the back roads of Texas. So if you don't stop and fix this thing, it's only going to make matters worse. You're going to run out of food, you're going to run out of water. And so what do? Number one, what do when you have a flat tire? You accept it mentally. Number two, you deal with it in a positive way. And number three, you have to get out of the car. Once you get out of the car, listen, you can sit there and think about it all day long. But until you take the positive actions that are absolutely necessary, I've always said, if you're willing to do what others won't, you'll have achieved, become, and experience what others never will. Well, you've heard me say that over and over and over. But when you're sitting on the side of the road with a flat tire, number one, you got to accept it that you're not the only one going through this. Number two, you got to deal with it in a positive way. Number three, you got to get out of the car, right? So just sitting there is not going to solve or make things better, is it? It's not going to solve your problems. And then number four, when you get out of the car, you've taken a mental evaluation, but now you've got to do the physical evaluation. Now then you go to the back of the car, you open up the trunk, or you open up maybe the top of the back of the car, and you look inside, and here's all this baggage that you had for your trip. Well, the baggage can represent a lot of things. But today, in order for me to take and find the tools that I'm going to need to fix the flat, I've got to take the baggage out. Now, when I travel, sometimes I just throw everything in there. Well, from this experience, I've learned that it would have been better if I'd have got organized in the beginning. So I'm going to take all the baggage out of the car. And I'm not just going to throw it on the ground. I'm going to begin to organize the large baggage, the medium baggage, the small baggage, and then I'm going to put it off to the side of the road. So just in case somebody did come by, or when I get ready to load it, I know how to load it, so the next time I have a flat tire, maybe I won't have to unload all this baggage, just what is necessary in order to get to the tools that I need. So you got to unload the baggage. A lot of people come with a lot of baggage. They feel hurt because their upline quit the business, or maybe the business itself closed down. They changed the pay plan. So they come into life and into a network marketing situation or a home-based business, and they're just frustrated because they feel like somebody's done them wrong. Well, sometimes we have to deal with the baggage in order to get on with the repairs. So what do? Once you remove the baggage and you dealt with it, you move it out of the way, then you're going to begin to look for the right tools. When you find the right tools, you might find a screwdriver and say, well, how's that going to help me? Well, a lot of cars have a wheel hubcap. And you have to get the hubcap off in order to get to the lug nuts that hold the wheel that's attached to the car. Well, that little tool that you thought was insignificant is absolutely one of the best tools you can have to get started with. And that is to pop that cap off so that you can actually get start repairing the flat tire. Then what do? Once you've located all the tools that you need, it's going to be very, very important that you have the knowledge that is absolutely necessary on using those tools to get the job done. Just having the tools means nothing unless you have a knowledge to go with it. Like, how do I use a jack? What is the handle for? And what is a four-way lug wrench for? What was the screwdriver for? So you have to have a basic knowledge of, once you find the right tools, you have to have a knowledge of how to use those tools and in the order that they need to be used, right? So what do? You have to know how to change a tire. That's a good start, isn't it? And that's something you should know before you took your trip. People will ask me all the time, why is it important that I read books and attend seminars and three-way calls? And why should I go to conventions? Because you need the knowledge in advance, so when you do have a flat tire, you'll know how to deal with that situation. When your upline quits, you'll need to know how to deal with that. Whenever they change the comp plan, how to deal with that. And what if, worst of all, the company goes under? What would you do? You go out, you do your research, and you find another company, you go forward. But you're stronger now, you're wiser. So once again, it's locate, what is the order? Number one, accept it. Number two, deal with it. Number three, get out of the car. Do something physical to make it, take the right actions. Number four, locate the right tools. Number five, have a knowledge of how to use the tools in the order that they need to be used. Number six, not only do you have the knowledge, number seven, know how to change a tire. Know how to build a business. Know how to build a team. Know how to get past the roadblocks and the flat tires that come along in life. And then, what do then? Once you get the tools out, you want to jack the car up. We need to know where to place the jack, how to jack that up. So let's say you get out there, but you do it in the wrong order. You pop the little wheel hub off, and you jack the car up. Then you're going to try to unloosen the lug nuts on the car. But now the wheel just spins. And you said, oh my gosh, how can I stop the wheel from spinning? So you jack the car back down to give it some traction or some leverage. And now then you can break those lug nuts loose. But you can't really get it off without jacking the car back up. But you know what? You've already jacked the car up once. So you've already got the basic knowledge of what it takes to jack the car. So you jack the car back up. Now the lug nuts are loosened. You loosen them all the way and you take the tire off. You go get the spare tire and you put it on, knowing that the stem that you aired up with goes to the outside, right? So you put that back on and you put the lug nuts by hand, kind of loosely, back onto the tire itself. But once again, you go to tighten it and it spins again. But because of your experience of jacking a car and getting the leverage, you know to lower it back down. And once the tire meets the pavement, you begin to tighten those lug nuts down really tight. Because now you've got the leverage and the balance to get that done. But you know you've got to do it in a star formation. Because you want this thing to be tightened in a way that you don't get out of balance going down the road, causing more trouble. Well, same way in life or building a business. You want to build it with a system that is easily duplicatable and one that keeps you in balance. So once you've tightened it all up, Then you're going to probably jack it back up a little bit, spin the tire, make sure it's on good, make sure it's on straight. You're going to do an examination of that. Then you're going to begin to jack it down. And once you do, you're not going to take off. You still have baggage out there. You still have precious items on the side of the road. You still have to put the tools back in place. But now, instead of trying to find the tools, you're going to organize the tools. Organization is everything. And that's why we go through these flat tire experiences. Now that we know that we must, number one, accept it. Everybody goes through a flat tire once in a while. You have to evaluate it mentally. Number two, you have to deal with it. And you got to deal with it in a positive attitude and not do the wrong actions. Number three, you got to do something physical to make it better. You can't just sit there and think about it. If your business isn't working, you got to do something about it, right? So you just got to go out and do it, but do the right action. So you got to get out of the car. And number three, you got to go back and unload some of the baggage. Get rid of the stuff. Get it out of the way so you can find the proper tools. And when you find the tools, you need to know how to have the knowledge of how to use those tools and use the tools in the proper order. And once you've gone through this process, if you were to ever have another flat tire, guess what? You're already able to mentally and physically know how to deal with it and how to handle it because you've been through this before. And then you got to take, and once you're through and you're ready to get back on the road, you need to put the tools back in and organize it so the next time you have a flat tire, it won't be so hard. You'll know where the tools are. You'll know what tools to use and what mechanisms to use to fix the problem. And then you're going to go back in and organize the baggage. So if you get to the tools, you don't have to pull everything out, just what's necessary in order to take and get the job done. So you're more organized, you're more balanced, you got more knowledge now. Then what do? You load it all up, you close the door, you get back into your car, and you simply put the seatbelt back on, you start the car up, you make sure that it's clear. Of course it is, nobody's come by to help, right? The sun's going down, you turn your lights on, your GPS still isn't working, your phone still isn't working, but you know what? You succeeded. And you put it in gear and you take off, going back down the road, heading for the destiny that you were on in the first place, the journey that you had started out. So what do? You start the car and you get back on track. Now what you don't want to do is let that ruin your trip and all you do is focus on the flat tire. What it was is what it was. What it is what it is. What's going to be is what's going to be. And all that matters is my attitude, the correct attitude, and the correct positive actions to move on and go down the journey. So now I need to look around and smell the roses. I need to kind of chill out and not focus on what happened, but focus on what I'm about to see, the journey that's in front of me, which is called life, right? Many of us today, maybe it's a bad divorce, maybe you've quit a company or a company fired you, and people spend their whole time thinking about the flat tire that happened in their life. Well, what do? You quit thinking about that and you start thinking about the journey and what you're about to head into and where you're going in your life. So I encourage you, you're smarter now, you're wiser, you're more skilled. Now the next time you have a flat, you're not going to be so freaked out. You're going to know what you need to mentally think about. You need to get out of the car physically, and you'll know how to get the right tools out, how to loosen the lug nuts, how to raise it up, take the tire off, put the tire on, and then you'll know how to set it back down, tighten it up, and do it with balance, and then take the tools back out, organize them back in, put all the baggage back in, close the door, get in, hook up your seatbelt, and guess what? You've gone through a series of processes, a system. So the next time you have a flat tire, instead of freaking out, you'll know how to deal with it. Whether it be in life or relationships, finances. One man told me one time that was very rich. He had lost $1 million. He said, but you know what? I've learned what I had to do to build it once. And he went out and built it again. So it wasn't the fact that he lost all of his money. It was the fact that he gained the knowledge of how to make money. And here's what he told me. He said, making money is easy. Learning how to use it wisely, that takes a skill set so that you don't lose it again. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that this video has helped you a little bit. Maybe you can put whatever you're going through, your flat tire that's going on in your life. But here's the deal. Once you're on the journey and you get to the end, you fill up that scrapbook with all the memories. And the memories is what you want to focus on. The people that you meet in this industry. The places you get to go that you never would have went to. Somebody asked me, said, why would you do network marketing? There's not another plan out there that pays you the way this plan does. Listen, I can go out here and work for Walmart. That's a good company to work for. I can work for Target or McDonald's. These are all good companies to work for. But you know what? The amazing thing is I am limited on the amount of income that I've got. But in network marketing, if I take somebody under my wing and I teach them how to deal with a flat tire, and I teach them how to generate income, and the nice thing is I get a little piece of that reward financially by helping them. And then they go out and they find somebody on the side of the road. Now they teach them how to handle a flat tire and maybe how to make money, and I get a little piece of the pie. Well, you know what? I would much rather work, if I'm going to have to work a part-time job, and that's what a home-based business is. You got to change the way you think. A home-based business doesn't mean I sit at home like a slot machine, put some money in, and pull the handle and sit back and wait for it to happen. No. I know I got to work. I got to, just like a part-time job at Walmart or McDonald's or anywhere else. If I don't clock in, they're going to fire me. It's going to affect my paycheck. Likewise, with a home-based business, you have to understand that I have to treat it as a part-time job. Have to go out, clock in every day. If I would have spent 30 hours working for Walmart for a limited amount of income, or for McDonald's for a limited amount of income, it just makes more sense to put the energy and the effort into what most people call a home-based business. I call it my part-time job, because it sets me mentally where I need to be to evaluate. When I get off my full-time job, I've got to clock in and do my part-time job and work it on a part-time basis every day. And if I do that, this part-time job, because it deals with people and helping people to do the same thing that I do to generate a massive income in their life, and I get a piece of that pie, listen, I'd much rather work 30 hours in an organization that allows me to get magnified results than to work the same 30 hours and get minimum results. Why would I want to work 30 hours for, let's say, $10 an hour when I could have worked 30 hours investing in people and help them to go out? It's like owning a bunch of Coke machines. Why would I want to own one Coke machine and service that machine when I can teach somebody else how to get a Coke machine or a Dr. Pepper, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they can go out, and yet I get a piece of the pie every time they fill up that Coke machine. What if I did that with 1,000 people? Instead of just getting the efforts of my own and the income of what I did, now I'm making a small percentage of what 1,000 people did. Doesn't that just make more sense? I'm telling you, network marketing can be the most rewarding opportunity in the world. But the problem with it, people think they can sit at home and do nothing. Well, guess what? You're getting the results that you put into it. Whatever costs you nothing means nothing. If you don't do anything, you don't get anything. But what if you spent the next 3 or 4 years working really hard at helping to develop people and systems that are easy to do, duplicatable, and they reward you financially? Doesn't it make sense? Why work for another organization for 3 years and be limited? Why not capitalize and expand the amount of growth? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what you do with a flat tire, I hope this helps you, whether it be in your relationships, whether it be in your finances or in your career. Everybody goes through a flat tire. It does matter that you accept it, you deal with it, you get out of the car, you do something physically to fix it. You locate the right tools. You have to remove the baggage, right? Remove the baggage, locate the right tools, know how to properly use those tools in the right order. And then you got to, once it's fixed, you got to load it all back up. You got to get back on track, going back where you need to go. And don't sit there and focus and whine and cry about the flat tire. Look at what you're about to experience. Go forward and enjoy your life. Well, I hope this has helped you. This is Dr. H, wishing you a very blessed day, looking for your success to be at the top of the ladder. And when you do, you can look back and say, not only did I reach that goal, but I helped a lot of people along the way. This is Dr. H.